Educator Podcast. Hello, it is Brittany here, and I wanted to start out by saying thank you so much for coming back and listening to episode 2. If you missed episode 1, I highly suggest that you go back and listen to that. It is very short, very sweet, but it lets you know a little bit about me, and it would be great if you went and checked it out so that you know who I am before we get started with today's podcast. Which brings me to our subject for today, and that subject is going to be my first 100 days with VIPKid. So today I'm going to go through my experience that I've had so far. I'm going to give you 3 very helpful tips that you will want to know as a new VIPKid teacher, and I'm going to answer the question, do I think that VIPKid is worth it? But before we jump into that today, I have an interesting story to tell you guys from when I was teaching this week. So recently I opened up my Friday night slots because I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to teach. So I teach 2 hours on Friday nights from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. And I had my first fully booked night, which was 4 classes back to back. I was super excited. I got everything set up, ready to go. And I get into my first classroom. This is with a student who is about 12 years old, probably. And he's doing great. He's doing great with the material. He's reading well. He's participating. And he's taking the class on the iPad app, which means that he is very mobile. With his iPad, he's walking around his house. And in the middle of reading a passage while I was teaching him, I noticed this sound start to happen, and it sounds kind of like a trickling. And I realized that my student was in the bathroom, using the bathroom, while he was taking class. Now, before any of you freak out, don't worry, there was nothing shown, but I definitely heard something and noticed that we were in a different room that looked like a bathroom, and I'm pretty sure he was going to the bathroom. I didn't really know what to do, so I kind of just powered through it, and, it doesn't take long to do your business, so he did it, was done, and then walked back into the living room and continued on with class. But I wanted to know if any of you had experienced the same kind of thing if you're already a VIPKid teacher or any other kind of teacher online. I'm not sure if this is like a cultural thing or if it's just a common occurrence because they're young kids. So I'd love to hear from you guys. And you can totally let me know through Instagram. My name is the Home Educator. You can message me or send me a quick email. My email is teacherbritneybci@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, which is @homeeducatorpodcast.com. There's a little link that says have a question, and if you click on that, it takes you to a forum where you can post anything you'd like about the world of online teaching. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Have you ever experienced anything like this situation? What did you do? What's the best way to deal with it? Should I expect it again? So I'm very interested to hear from you guys about that, and I thought that would be a funny story to share. You never know what you're gonna run into with these jobs, right? So let's go ahead and dive in to today's topic, which is my first 100 days as a teacher with VIPKid. Now, in my first 100 days, I taught 26 classes. Wah, wah. Now, if you don't know anything about VIPKid or the online teaching world, that might seem like a lot to you. But I'm telling you right now from the research that I've done, it seems like the average for a new teacher is about 1 class per day of teaching. So in 100 days, I should have taught about 100 classes, and I have only taught 26. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is it VIP Kid's fault? Is it your fault? Oh my gosh, should I not do this? Well, slow down, slow your roll. I'm going to explain everything, and there is a silver lining. So just hang in there, okay? I'm coming. I'm going to give you some glimmer of hope. So let's start at the beginning. Why did I only teach 26 classes in my first 100 days? Well, there are a few reasons. The first one is because I was moving. So, if you listen to my first podcast, I briefly mentioned that I am a military wife. So, my husband is in the military. And if you know anything about the military, if you have family or friends, or maybe you're a military wife as well, or a military husband, you know that moving is just a part of the world of the military. So, I was hired with VIPKid in November of 2018, and shortly after that, my husband and I were told that we were going to have to move by December 3rd of 2018. So, needless to say, after I was hired, a lot of my time was taken up with moving, packing. You know, I had a 5-month-old baby, so you have to entertain her, and babies do not like to help you pack, just to let you know if you didn't know. So I was very busy, and that set me back about 30 days. There was about 30 days where I was not teaching just because I was moving. So obviously that's going to bring down my bookings and make it so that I haven't taught as many classes. So that's reason number one why I have only taught 26 classes in 100 days. Reason number two is that once I moved, I got everything set up. I went for my first day of teaching, and I didn't show up to my first 2 classes. And you may be thinking, oh my goodness, this girl, what is going on? And I will explain to you what happened. So, we got moved in, I got my classroom set up, I was so excited, I opened up my slots so that I could start teaching, and I looked at my schedule the night before. I was supposed to start teaching my first classes, and nobody had signed up. So I thought, well, oh man, hopefully somebody will sign up later in the week. I went to bed, didn't set an alarm, nothing like that, because I didn't have any classes. I wake up the next morning, and lo and behold, not only did one person book me overnight, but 2 people booked me overnight. And newbie teacher Brittany over here didn't even know that was possible. So I didn't show up to my first 2 classes. That is called a teacher no-show. And teacher no-shows are bad. From the research that I've done, teacher no-shows make VIPKid think that you are not a reliable teacher, and rightly so. So my teacher profile, when people were looking for a teacher to enroll their student with, was all the way down at the bottom. According to VIPKid's algorithm, it was moved all the way down to the bottom because I missed those 2 classes, and that set me back. That was a big disadvantage. So that's reason number 2 why I only taught 26 classes. Reason number 3 is because I had to cancel 2 classes in my first 100 days. Now, you may be thinking, oh my gosh, this girl is a mess, but I promise I have a very, very good excuse. So, story time again. My husband and I were on a little bit of a health kick, so we were working out, and we were drinking protein shakes in the afternoons, or in the evenings, and so we decided to get some powdered peanut butter to mix into our chocolate protein shakes so that we could have like a Reese's peanut butter cup protein shake. Sounds good, right? Well, it was good. We drank them, we went to bed. Then we were awakened about 1 or 2 in the morning with terrible, terrible stomach cramps, terrible, terrible sickness. And it turns out we got Salmonella. It was a very wonderful bonding experience for my husband and I will spare you the minute details, but needless to say, I could not teach my classes that next morning. So I had to cancel 2 more of my classes. Now, just to explain for you all who are not already a part of VIPKid or have no idea about how this online teaching thing works, for VIPKid, you are hired with a contract, and each contract lasts 6 months. In that 6-month contract, you are allowed 6 cancellations. And teacher no-shows also count as cancellations. So if you're counting correctly, that would mean that I have 4 cancellations out of 6, which is obviously not a good thing. Well, I actually only have 3 cancellations. There's a very good thing that VIPKid does, which is they make it to where you can cancel up to 2 classes at a time, and it only counts as 1 cancellation. So technically, I only have 3 cancellations. Now, VIPKid also has these wonderful things called soft and medium cancellations, which I did not know about. Basically, what this means is that if you're sick or something that is out of your ability to change happens and you have to cancel a class, it does not count towards you as long as you can give them proof. And I'll go a little bit more into detail about these cancellations later on in the podcast. But for right now, I just need to tell you, I did not know that these soft and medium cancellations existed. All of my cancellations were what they call hard cancellations, which means I had 3 strikes against me on my contract already. I was less than 100 days in, which means that I went all the way back down to the listings where the parents were seeing me because, once again, rightly so, VIPKid was seeing me as a teacher who is not reliable. Now, the 4th reason why I think that I've only taught 26 classes in 100 days is because of Chinese New Year. If you don't know what Chinese New Year is, it's a festival in China where they obviously celebrate the New Year, but China really goes hard during this festival. So everything is shut down. All the factories are shut down. People are sent home so they can spend time with their families. Children don't go to school. They're spending time with their families for the New Year. So obviously, kids are not going to book as much with VIPKid because they're on vacations and they're celebrating. So my bookings also went down in February because of Chinese New Year. So all of that being said, 26 classes in 100 days with all of that stuff going on isn't so bad. But it has only gone up from there. And that is what I want to make sure to share with you guys. So, even though I only taught 26 classes in my first 100 days, my numbers now are tripling what they were when I first started. So let me run the numbers for you. In January of 2019, I only taught 6 classes. In February of 2019, I was able to double that, more than double that, and I was able to teach 14 classes. Now, it is March 6th today, so we are 6 days into March, and I have already taught 10 classes. Yay for me, first of all. And second of all, I also have 31 more classes booked, and the month is not even over yet. So that means that I have almost over 40 classes booked so far for this month. That is almost 10 times what I did the first month, and that is only 3 months from when I first started, and that is with all of that mumbo jumbo going on. So, let's talk a little bit about money. My first month of working with VIPKid, I taught those 6 classes, like I said. I make about $9 per class, which is $18 an hour. So with those 6 classes, I only made about $54 in my first month, right? That's not a lot. Now, in my second month, I was able to double that with my 14 classes, which means I made almost $130 in my second month, which is still, it's a pretty considerable amount of money. You could go buy some pretty nice things with that, but not enough to consider this a part-time job. Now, in my third month, if I teach 40 classes, which it's looking like I will teach more than that, I will be making over $300, which is so much more than what I began with. It is about 6 times more than what I started making. And like I said, things just keep going up from here. So if I can get full bookings, which means all of the slots that I open up are booked, I stand to make over $1,000 a month, which makes it totally worth it because that's as much as a part-time job, and I'm not even leaving my house. So things are looking up, and we are recovering from that first 100 days. So, based on my mistakes in my first 100 days, I have a few tips that you need to remember in your first 100 days so you can teach way more than 100 classes. So, tip number 1 on how to become successful with VIPKid quicker than me with your bookings is set your alarm. So, make sure that you set your alarm so you're going to get up in the morning to teach your classes and you do not teach or no-show like I did. Now, if you don't have classes booked the night before, you want to make sure that you close those slots so that nobody books overnight and you miss those classes like I did. Now, teaching with VIPKid, you work some crazy hours. So, the time zone in China is 12 to 15 hours later than it is in the United States. The peak time in China on the weekdays is from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. But in the United States, the hours are different. So if you're on Eastern Standard Time, those are 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on weekdays. Central Standard Time is 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. on weekdays. Mountain Time, which is where I live, is 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on weekdays. And Pacific Time, I feel sorry for you guys. Their peak times are 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. on weekdays. Now, weekends are a little different. Weekends, the hours are even more interesting. A lot of people work what are called overnights. Now, overnights are when you teach all the way through from the night before to the morning after. And most people do these on the weekend because the peak times in China go overnight on the weekends. So on weekends, the peak times in China are from 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. That means in America, if you live in the Eastern time zone, the peak times for you are from 7:30 p.m. Friday to 9 a.m. Saturday. If you live in Central time, the peak times are from 6:30 p.m. Friday to 8 a.m. Saturday. If you live in Mountain Time, which is me, your peak times are 5:30 p.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. And if you're in Pacific Time, that's 4:30 p.m. Friday to 6 a.m. Saturday. Personally, I do not teach these because I have a baby that doesn't care if I'm tired, and that needs to be taken care of. So I can't stay up the whole night and then take care of her the next day. But these are a great opportunity for you to get bookings if you don't have a child or if you have somebody to watch your child so that you can nap. But regardless of where you live or what times you choose to teach, you are going to work some weird hours. So you need to make sure to set your alarm reliably for your classes and check your schedule regularly for your classes so that you don't miss any. You do not want to miss any of those first classes because it will put you all the way down at the bottom of the page where the parents choose what teacher they want their child to be with, since VIPKid is going to think you're not a reliable teacher. So, set your alarm, check your schedule often. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to definitely take advantage of the soft and medium cancellations. So, like I said, when I had to cancel those 2 classes, I didn't even know that soft and medium cancellations existed. So, just knowing that they exist, you're a leg up. You can apply for them. So, apply for them whenever you can. Now, the reasons that VIPKid will allow you to take a soft and a medium cancellations are fourfold. The first one is childbirth. So, if you go into labor, which I know a lot of you mamas out there might be pregnant or, thinking about having another one, especially if this work from home thing works out. But reason number 1 is if you go into labor, you can cancel. The second reason you can take a soft or medium cancellation is if something happens that is out of your control. So say there is a hurricane and your power goes out and you have to evacuate and you can't teach. You can submit a soft or medium cancellation for that. Or say you get into a car crash and you have to go to the hospital. That would also be a soft or medium cancellation situation. So that's number 2, uncontrollable circumstances. Number 3 is illness, like myself. Now this applies to yourself or your family. So if you have little ones at home and one of them gets sick, which, cross my fingers, I hope none of your little ones get sick. But if they were to, then you can apply for a soft or medium cancellation. The fourth reason is if there is a death in your family. Things happen, life is hard sometimes, and if you happen to lose someone while you're teaching and you need to cancel, that counts as a soft or medium cancellation situation. Now, all you have to do to get these soft or medium cancellations is cancel your classes and then apply within 30 days after your cancellation to make that a soft or hard cancellation. You do all this in your teacher portal that you get when you become a teacher, and I will link a video or 2 that I have found that's very helpful and explains and gives some visuals on how to do this so that if you are already a VIPKid teacher, you know what to do. But it is really not very complicated. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of the soft and medium cancellation policy. That means, remember, you get 6 cancellations in your 6-month contract. That means that if it becomes a soft or medium cancellation, it does not count towards those 6 cancellations that you have in your contract. So that is good. That also means that it does not affect your bookings as much because VIPKid sees, oh, they had an actual reason for canceling. They're not just canceling because they don't want to teach, which means you are a reliable teacher, right? So definitely take advantage of that soft medium cancellation policy. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 that I have for you is to open up as many bookings as you can. Now, like I said before, you're going to teach some crazy hours when you first start. But hopefully over time, you can kind of change the hours to meet more what you want to do. Now, they still have to fall between those peak times, but they won't be as crazy. So if you live in California, you probably won't always have to get up at 2 a.m. unless you want to. That's up to you. So, for example, when I first opened up my slots, I only really wanted to work the mornings. And now, if you remember, my peak times are from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on weekdays. I did not want to get up at 3 a.m. So I opened up my bookings from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. only on weekdays. And I got pretty minimal bookings to start out with. Now that more time has passed and I've realized that the more bookings you open up, the more people you get, obviously, my bookings have increased. So my current hours are Monday through Thursday from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., Fridays from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., and Sundays from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. because I need my Saturdays, I want to sleep in, and you should too. Remember, take care of yourself first. But it has greatly increased the amount of bookings that I can get once I opened up more slots. So make sure that you open up as many slots as possible. Why else do you want to do this besides the fact that it gives you the opportunity to teach more students? It's because the more people you get in front of you, the more likely you are to have regulars. Now, regulars are students that you teach often. So you're going to teach them once a week, a few times a week. You get to know them, and it's awesome. Right now, in my third month, I have about 3 regulars, and it's great because I always know what to expect in class, and they're great with interacting with you. You kind of build a relationship with the kids, and they're super cute and super fun. So I highly recommend opening your slots so that you can find some students that really like you and you can start to get regulars. That also allows you to change your schedule more because your regulars want to stay with you. So it's more likely that you can then start shifting your times around your regulars. So say you have regulars or a regular that always wants to book you at 5:30 in the morning. Well, you know, on these days of the week, you're going to get up at 5:30 in the morning to teach Jimmy, your regular. Then you can open up slots from 5:30 to 7:30 every morning, and you know that you'll have at least one class booked. So it helps your schedule a lot. So that is tip number 3, is to open up as many bookings as you can. Now, to the part that I know you've all been anxiously waiting for. Do I think VIPKid is worth it? And my answer is 100% yes. Now, as you've heard, I had a bit of a rough start with my bookings, but now everything is going great, and I only see it going up from here, which shows me that VIPKid is on my side. They are not out to get me. They are rooting for me, and they want me to teach, right? And who doesn't want a company like that? Now, another reason why I think VIPKid is 100% worth it is because of the money that I'm able to make with them. Like I said, if I can get all of my bookings booked, I stand to make a little over $1,000 a month, which is great. That is about what I would make with a part-time job. And I don't even have to leave my house, especially as somebody with a baby. She is 8 months old now, who requires a lot of attention. And as a mom who doesn't want to put her baby in daycare because I'm spoiled and I want to spend every second with her, right? Don't we all with our little babies? That is great because I get to stay home and I still am making enough money to feel like I am contributing to my household and to my family. And I get to scratch my teaching itch every morning and teach the cutest little kids in China. The money also makes it so that I don't have to pay for daycare, which half of my pay would probably be going to daycare anyway if I had a job. So I'd probably be bringing in about the same amount anyway. So the money is definitely worth it. I'm making $18 an hour, which is way more than I'd be making at some part-time job, waitressing or who knows, washing cars, flipping burgers. things like that, right? And it's super enjoyable. Like I said, I get to scratch my teaching itch, and I get to teach cute little kids, and then go see my own little baby every morning she wakes up. So it's great. The next reason why I think it's 100% worth it is the community. There is a great online community, and this podcast is just one aspect of it. And honestly, this podcast was inspired by the great online community that VIPKid has created. You know, as a traditional teacher in brick and mortar, when I taught middle schoolers, I remember the break room being such an important place where the teachers would go, we would all share our ideas, we would vent to each other, we would laugh with each other, and VIPKid kind of creates the same thing, just in a different way. You know, Instagram is a great community. We share our stories with each other. There are tons of YouTubers out there who get to share their stories. There are people like me making podcasts who get to share their stories. And the interaction that I've had so far has been great. Everybody is so supportive. Everybody is so happy with what they're doing. And it's just awesome. It's an awesome community to be in. So definitely worth joining VIPKid. Don't think that you won't have support, because you will. There are tons and tons of teachers out there that will be there to support you, to help you along the way, and I hope that I'm one of them, but there are tons of other people out there too. So, I 100% think that VIPKid is worth it, and I have a very, very positive outlook on the future with VIPKid. I think my bookings will only go up from here. I think that my community support will only go up from here. And I just think it's going to be an awesome ride. So I 100% recommend it to anybody who wants to try it out. So that is the end of my 100-day journey with VIPKid. Like I said, I'm on day 109 now, and I only see it going up from here. I can't wait to share all of my experiences with you guys, and I can't wait to hopefully bring on people that have more experience with me. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please, please, please do not be afraid to reach out to me. There are several ways that you can do that. Number one is an email. My email is teacherbritneybci@gmail.com. You can ask me whatever question you want. You can tell me your favorite color. You can introduce yourself, whatever you want to do. I'd love to respond to you, and I'd love to meet you and get to know a little bit more about you. You can also follow me on Instagram or just message me on Instagram. My username is the Home Educator, and I don't have too many posts on there yet, but we're growing, and I'd love to hear from you. And also the third way is my website. My website is @homeeducatorpodcast.com. There are several ways to contact me on there. There are a few contact forms and also a page that is labeled Have a Question, and there is a forum on there. And the forum is supposed to be a place where anybody can come and ask any question, and I can answer it, or people with other experiences can answer it, and we can all talk to each other, kind of like a mini break room within the giant break room that is the VIPKid community. So please, 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 if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to tell me your favorite color, then reach out to me on one of those platforms. Also, don't forget, I will leave links to some helpful videos about the cancellations and the hours in the description, so you can kind of see some visuals to go along with everything. I know I'm a visual learner, so that always helps. And there are some awesome people out there that do a great job at explaining it as well. And I also wanted to shout out some other success stories that I've kind of seen on the Instagram community. I've been really involved lately, trying to message people and dip my toes in, and a lot of people are just doing great, and it's so great to see. So the first one is Teacher Steph on Instagram, and I will link her in the description. And she's doing a great job. Her Instagram is beautiful, number one. And number two, she has perfect bookings, and she has had less time than me. So her success story is a great one to check out. And also teacher Coco on Instagram, which she is an awesome lady. I recently just commented on one of her posts about a reward system that she used, and she totally messaged me and gave me the file for the reward system, and it was awesome. She's super nice, and also her story is a successful one and a very fun one to check out. She teaches on a few different platforms, so it's interesting to see that. So definitely go check her out. There are tons more to explore on Instagram, so I highly suggest that you go follow me and then you check all the other people out as well. So that is all I have for now. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And most importantly, remember, you can do this. You can have a success story. You can work from home. You can do whatever you wish to do. And you can do what makes you the happiest. Happiness is a choice. And I wanted to thank you so much for listening again. And I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.